this is the thing, right? Is like we're like the idea of like the lone wolf as a romanticized figure is so fucking funny because wolves are in packs. Like that's the point of wolves. Like they're a group. There can be a leader of a wolf who's like, I'm the coach of the wolves. They probably don't say that. They probably say like, "Aroo," but they still like go with the other wolves. It's a whole thing. Sidebar. In Minnesota, there are wolf sanctuaries and you can see wolves do stuff, and it's amazing. I just need to quickly acknowledge that. It's really cool. Do it if you have a chance. But hyperindependence is viewed as a strength because we've been coached to do it. I'll let you guess why, but I'll hint at a couple of things. One, it prevents people from having to feel their feelings. They don't have to be vulnerable, so it's more of that. And two, these people are easy to manipulate.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Zero Dot Podcast. I'm Sam. This is John. This is Daniel. And gentlemen, another 7 consecutive days have passed. We are now at the time of which we say it has been a week, hasn't it been?
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 consecutive days. Not 8. That'd be too many. Not 9. I'm gonna quit. Yeah. There's a lot more numbers, but yeah, no, it's the 7 of them. I hope it's been good. I hope you've had a lovely time. I hope this feels better than the previous week. I hope that happens for the rest of your life. It probably won't, but it'd be really cool if it did.
It'd be really cool. Yeah, and we've never recorded a session like right after another session and skipped that 7-day week. We're always honest about that every single time.
I would like to address the following conundrum. So I'm a person with a vocabulary that I've previously thought was fairly okay. Like I knew several different words and I've used them at various lugubrious times. And I've found that I had internalized wizened as a different word than it is. Wizened straight up has Y's in the word. And if you are fucking around, you can use it in a sentence with other adjectives and it might fit. But wizened means old. It doesn't mean wise and wiser. And that's a problem for me. And I don't like that.
It does mean old.
Are we afraid of getting old, gentlemen?
Nah, you kind of like, so here's the deal. Here's the thing in Therapy Town. It's very reliable. You have client's amazing. Client's like 22, 24, 25. Right around that window, they're like, so I'm going to die. I've realized that one thing in my life isn't constantly getting better. It might be like now my knee is doing a thing, or like your first little gray hair pops up or something. And it's like, this is a very bad thing. And then if you handle that, which really is just like talk about it, feel your shit. Eventually you're just like, yeah. No, getting old is sick. Like I'm sure there's a recursion point. Fucking thing. So my grandma is the centurion, we would call her. She's over 100 years old. What
nice.
Beast.
Congrats to your grandma.
Shout outs to Grandma K. But she was talking to my mom about aging a while ago, and she was like, you know what, Sue, my mom's name is Sue, every decade's better than the last. I was like, that's fucking cool, Grandma, you're fucking cool. And it was her 100th birthday a while ago, and I was there, and I was kind of like hoping to like catch some of that grandma magic, gramagic for short.
Gramagic,
and I asked her the same question. Not to be
confused with grammar magic, just gramagic, yeah.
No, that would be called gramargic, which is worse.
Yep, thank you for that clarification.
Doesn't even sound fun, but I asked her kind of something like, say, Grandma, like what would you say is like the best decade? And she was like, well, after 90, it's all bad. And I was like, oh, this has lost the whimsical charm of last time. Shit. Which is probably just like her spitting facts into like, it's harder to do things. She's still like able-bodied, lives in her own home. Like Grandma's a fucking tank. And if she heard me swearing so much, I think she would be a little bit less thrilled. But like Grandma's amazing. She is genuinely, truly incredible person. But no, like the theory was prior to the 100 years, she was like, no, like things just kind of keep getting better. I think as long as you have your mental faculties, like life's pretty cool. I would 100% tell you that 20-something me would be afraid to be in his 30s, and 30-something me is like, no, they're like the best so far. It's fucking incredible.
I've been trying my hardest whenever I have a birthday, rather than doing the thing of like, haha, or I'm not going to count this one, I'm just going to stay this age, or like, you know, oh, another year, like, oh, I'm getting older, I'm getting up there. No. Instead, I am taking to being grateful and thankful and very happy and honoured that I get to live another year. And it's been really good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Because even joking about that stuff, there's a little bit of truth in there when people are just like, "Ha ha, I'm so old." And
Sure.
it's like, oh, you're joking, but you. So I've been kind of trying to retrain my brain
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
think of it as just like, hell yes, I survived another year. Go me. That's
you.
awesome. And I get to be around more and do more good stuff and help more people and help myself and be a better
Yeah.
person. And it gives me more time before I do leave to leave it better than I found it.
Oh, I
And
love
I'm
that,
so
Daniel.
happy about that. I'm so happy about
Yeah,
that.
that's great. I often think
I-
of our 30s in the same way that I think John and I had the same experience. Maybe Daniel had a different one. You're told in middle school and high school, oh, we're going to pound you to the ground because you're not going to be prepared for the real world. You get to the real world, which in this metaphor is your 30s. I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is cool. This ain't bad. We like this. What were you so scared of? Like, this is good. I vibe with this.
Or,
It was the other stuff that was hard. This is not bad.
the fear of like, you're meant to have it all figured out by now. If you
No.
don't have things all figured out, no, forget that. I'm still figuring things out. I figure new things out every single day. And you should. If you've got everything figured out perfectly by the time that you're 30,
You have nothing to live for. You're dead.
that's kind of weird. Like, I'm not sure about that.
No, that the idea of having it figured out by your 30s is very much harkening back to that. Like, we can close the patent office, everything's good, we did it all, which was said in what, like 1826 or some shit. Like, it was a long time ago.
Meanwhile,
prior
Disney
to,
has like a 96-year patent on their stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, that's I feel like, so my quick take on aging is like, if you still have this, like, you can keep growing. You'll like yourself more. You'll know more shit. You are better in every way, except admittedly physically. Some things like injuries heal different. Heads up on that one. 20 somethings, like, you're gonna get hurt, and it's just kind of there for a while. But like, other than that, the best thing, which is also foreshadowing for the show today, is you will make friends better in your 30s. It's so much. It's so much better. Holy fuck, it's a better process. Would recommend. Am recommending.
The fear is like the existential fear of like, do I belong? Do I belong? No, I probably belong. Let me find out. Hey, what's your thing? Hey, is that like my thing? Hey, let me connect it to my thing. And there's like that innocence factor. That's so nice.
This is one of the harder things about the human experience, especially, I suspect, for the younger generation. No science to back that up, so feel free for me to be like, you're fucking wrong. But I think the youngest generations right now have grown up with a computer that you can ask how to do things, which has made them, on one hand, incredibly efficacious. They forget being like, I don't know how to do this, I'll just figure it out. It's actually like, they're amazing at that.
Yep.
But it also has led to the notion that there's a way to do things that you should do, which is often true. Like, for instance, if you want to open a banana, I'm told it is best to open from not the stem, but the other side.
Yeah,
you're
that's right. That's
supposed
right.
to do.
That's right.
You are correct.
Which is nice when there's a thing that's correct. But insofar as living a human life, the diversity of participants and experiences and things is such that, like, there is no right way to do anything. And in theory, in the middle of your 30s or later, you'll start to be like, oh shit, yeah, doesn't matter what I do. Like, it's kind of my own thing. Whereas in your 20s, there's a little bit of built-in rat raciness because you're supposed to do so much shit still. I remember distinctly, I remember where I was sitting when I had the thought, I don't think I go to clubs enough. What a silly thought. Because then I did it more and I was like, this is not rewarding. I don't want to keep doing this. But I was told that I should by, I don't know, like, I had inferred that from somewhere, and it turns out to be false.
But you're right. The latest generation, they're looking for instructions for everything. They're really good at finding instructions. They're good at listening to instructions. And unfortunately, they've been capitalized on and preyed upon because people know that, and they do the whole, here's your solutions to things. One of the things that John and I and Daniel talk about is that some of this shit will offer you guidance, but it's hard shit. It's hard shit. And I can guide you, but you got to take the path on your own.
Yep. That's heads up. Once again, that's going to be a big today thing. I'm really excited to talk about this stuff with you, but it's not like it's just a strap it, like, turn it, move it, fix it. It's now yours. Like, no, you got to work at it. Which, you know, to kind of wrap up, like, you know, the 30s-y thing, the 20s-y thing, like, if you focus on helping yourself see where you're at as like a curious thing or a learning thing, or also, I forget which one of these fine gentlemen said it earlier, but it was Daniel. But it was like coming from a gratitude lens.
Yeah.
Like, If you fucking hate this podcast and you never want to hear it again, cool. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna listen to the next 10 seconds, fucking turn it off, never come back again. Reality is subjective. Use gratitude to make it better for yourself. There you go. That's
Done.
that's the best fucking
We
tip in
saved
the
you the
bag.
click. Let's go.
That's the
That's
thing.
Done.
That's
Bye.
the thing.
You never have to listen to us ever again.
But it is so powerful. It's so fucking good. I'll never stop being excited to talk about that. And to uncult it. There's a lot of like weird culty shit around gratitude and invalidating your problems that I do not want to do or talk. I mean, I do want to talk about it from like a that's bad perspective, but
Yeah.
bleh.
Well, before we get into the main topic for the day, I'd like to hear some good news if you have any good news.
When I do.
It's been a week. You know, not one of the worst weeks, but you know, I could use some cheering up.
I maybe have started picking slightly spicier good pieces of news because I'm a
Wait.
rebel.
Last week we talked about spiciness, and whoo, it got spicy. We talked about
did.
rectal spiciness from the mouth. What kind of spicy we talking about here, John?
I'm talking about spicy and that there are vague political undertones to what I'm about to talk about.
Vague.
But also I don't care in that I think the thing is good. So maybe you're listening to this on a phone. Perhaps you're watching it upon a computer. Perhaps a car is playing the sounds. And the fun thing about all these things is they're powered by stuff. None of those things just were like, I'm sentient and choose to do this. And also sentient things like made of carbon still need fuel and power. And oh my God, we lost Sam. He's back. But one of the things that's pretty cool is there's all kinds of sources of power. You know, you can like light a thing on fire. You can like burn a thing. You can also like combust a thing. And
A lot of things
occasionally,
with flame. This is
a
interesting.
lot of flames.
You're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
it's very-
power as in like converting things into power. Is that what you're talking about?
the very same.
Okay, gotcha.
And yeah, there's other ways as well. One of those ways that's kind of cool comes courtesy of the ocean, which is wind. Ocean and wind, very related if you don't know about these things. Moon also tied to this equation.
Yeah, if we don't have a moon, we're fucked. Yeah.
It's true. I feel like I heard that the moon leaving us was one of the soonest natural catastrophes that would end the world.
Yes.
It's still like incredibly far away, but like no moon, no tide, we're dead. Actually worse, huge tide, and then we're dead. But for now, while we're rocking a moon and tides and there's wind, there's this cool thing. Sidebar, I am not from Minnesota natively. I was born in Illinois. And once upon a time, I was driving out to a movie theater, which was kind of like in the edge of the countryside. And my friends and I were like heading out there. And we collectively just kind of like lost our shit because it's the dead of night and like looking out into the endless cornfields. Sidebar, if you're ever in Illinois, like the center of Illinois, you can see for like fucking 40 miles. Like there's just, it's so flat. You can just see forever. But we looked out and all we could see was just a sea of like floating red lights blinking in unison about like 300 feet in the air. Just boom, boom. And I was like, so the aliens are here. This is it. Bye, guys. But what was happening, unbeknownst to me, was since I didn't go to that part of town, they had put up a ton of these gigantic propellery things. They have a better name, wind turbines. And it lets the wind propel. And then there's a little stick. And then it goes, oh, I'm going to harness that energy. I'm going to distribute the energy. How great is that? And where we have them is in the giant cornfields of Illinois, which, fun fact, you can just like leave the cornfields and just like put a stick in them. It's kind of convenient. But out on the East Coast, they many good things about the East Coast. I heard the seafood's good. They have inferior football teams at present, but that's not their fault. But they have not as much land to do stuff with because we started building cities there first. So in the Midwest and frankly the West dish, like your Wyoming's, Montana's, all kinds of land. But if I'm like, hey, let's go start a wind farm in New York, maybe like upstate, I don't know, but like it's probably not. Like there's just not a lot of space. But then if you just keep going east a little bit, you'll find your boots are getting wet. And you keep going east a little bit, and now you're either swimming or drowned. But this thing's called the ocean. It's this big splorpy guy between us and Daniel. And
That's
what
what
you
that
can
is.
do, yeah.
I've been
No,
wondering all this time.
when you guys say mind the gap, I assume you mean like the fucking thousands of miles of ocean, which is just a
Yeah.
gap.
Yeah.
But you can stick a wind turbine in the ocean and just bloop that energy back to the land, and it's really great. But if you recall, I mentioned burning things, and the proprietors of Burning Things Enterprises are like, we only want you to burn things. No more wind stuff. And I'm sure they want that because they're very protective of the wind and don't want it to collide with a fan and feel uncomfortable. Because
Sure.
what other reason could there be? What other non-sinister, hoarding money, growing reason could there possibly be? But They said, hey, we're going to interrupt what's happening, which is a company called Sunrise Wind and a few other things. The Department of the Interior, so hence the political undertones, ordered that they would stop 5 offshore wind projects along America's eastern seaboard. And then a judge, Royce C. Lamberth, hell of a judge name, Royce C. Lamberth.
I love the name Royce.
Isn't
Give it
that
up for
strong?
Royce.
Isn't that powerful? I just love that. It was like, hey, you guys, your order to stop this from happening is costing the company who is building these things that we've already paid $2.5 million a day.
Wow.
And then
That's
they
a
were like,
smidge.
so we're going to just get back to it. So they overrode this order that was totally in no way related to companies that want you to burn things exclusively for their money and income for now clean energy that's going to get put in along the eastern seaboard so more people can have more affordable power. I'm sure somehow that's bad according to someone, but it's not me. I think it's great. I like when things regulate things in a way that is favorable to the people. I don't know why I like a government for the people, but I'm pretty into the idea of it. It sounds really good.
I mean, if the government should be for anything, it should be for people, right?
Well, have you considered like shareholders? I was just thinking maybe they're.
You know what? You're
Oh,
right.
You're right.
Oh
I
my
do feel bad
gosh.
for the shareholders, actually. I do
They're
feel
so
bad.
tiny
They are so
Ugh.
marginalized and
They're little
oppressed.
and weak
It's terrible.
and small and puny.
I hadn't thought
so-
about them. Thank you so much, John. You know, this entire time I thought if I just was in the game as long as I could and made a difference for my community, that would be enough. But you know what? Those poor shareholders, if they don't see year over year growth every single quarter, every single year, what will happen?
Well, the other thing is like, if these wind farms are bad and people don't want them, per the rules of American capitalism, they will fail. So let's let them try and fail instead of being what's called a baby back bitch and then trying to prevent them from even having a chance because you're afraid of the thing you claim to support. Whoops, got a little political. I'm done hiding from that, for the record.
I will smidge a
feel
little
like
bit more. We have this thing where
can't.
we think we're under laissez-faire economics, but we actually are not under laissez-faire. In fact,
Not at all.
we have a lot of hands on the lever pushing for a certain party, or not party, just group of people that make a lot of money off of that stuff. But then they have the ostentatiousness to say, oh, it's laissez-faire economics. Just let be what will be. How many times have you had been bailed out because something catastrophically failed? The real estate market, the airline market, maybe the real estate market again. I have no idea. Maybe Bitcoin's going to crash. I'm just saying.
My basketball team is going to play Sam's basketball team, and it's going to be totally fair. I did hire all the refs, but they're very good refs, and I just brought them on. I'm sure they won't be in any way impartial. I mean,
And
partial.
you did buy all
they
the
will.
roids. All the roids.
I did.
Yeah,
Roids.
my team did not do those things, but it's laissez-faire. Laissez-faire.
It's true. You could have bought all the roids. Just saying.
Royce, not roids. Royce, not
It's not roids.
Royce,
Royce, not
not
roids. Loud and
Roids.
proud.
That's our new
No,
shirt.
shout outs to Judge Lamberth and shout outs to doing things in a fair way and shout outs to like protecting the fucking environment. I don't know why I just like the environment so much. We live here. I think so. Like, to reiterate, like, obviously there's a little sassy pants going on over here, but
I got my
it's
sassy
not about
pants
like
on.
being like these people are bad, these people are bad. It's about being like agendas that hurt people are bad. Agendas that help a very small group of
Systems
people
are bad.
and hurt other people are bad. If you are the person who benefits and other people will hurt, you should think about that. And I shouldn't have to fucking tell you this. And we'll talk about why that's a thing another time. We already
'Cause
have as well. It's
Human
called
beings always
apathy.
take the path of least resistance. If we make the system in place that the path of least resistance is the most attractive and that harms people, that's my problem. It's the system. I
Yeah.
have.
It's that. It's that.
Well, that is good news, John. I'm so thankful. You brought up my spirits. I always fight for the good old environment. I'm happier about it. I'm happier just in general. I'm grateful. I thought about skipping this episode, but you brought that on, and now I'm feeling pretty darn good.
I'm so glad.
Can we skip the other part, the part where I talk about things aren't so great? Can we just skip that? Can we just like not talk about that?
Let's check in with Daniel. Let's see if he's got notes.
No, I actually have something. I'm asking.
You may not skip the bad stuff because it's important to talk about. And
Get
what's
it.
even better is we get to find ways to make it better.
That is the part that
We do.
matters. Otherwise, it's just screaming into the void.
Sure. All right, folks. So we're not a gaming podcast per se, but we have gaming tangentials. We are gamers here. We've talked about gaming in the past. If you recall, gentlemen, I talked about a study that came out across the pond on Daniel's side of the fence from a marketing firm that said that remakes are here to stay. Remember video game remakes? They're coming in full force. Every company's going to invest in them. But if you paid attention to the news, you might have uncovered, you might have seen that one very, well, we thought it was going to be a prolific remake, didn't quite make the cut. And of course, what I'm talking about here is a remake that a lot of people were looking forward to for reasons. I'm only sharing because this is where it is. I'm not an advocate for X.com, but this is where they shared the message. This Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake was ultimately canceled by good old Ubisoft. Now, cancellations are a thing, John and Daniel. I'm going to read verbatim exactly what they said because this is important. To the Prince of Persia community, we want to share this with you directly. We've made the difficult decision to stop development on Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time remake. We know this is deeply disappointing. The game carries enormous meaning for fans and for the teams who worked on it. While the project had real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve, and continuing would have required more time and investment than we could responsibly commit. Okay? And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what the Sands of Time represents. This is Ubisoft. That's what they're saying. They've had no problem releasing other things to a certain amount of quality that I'll let you be the judge of, but this is their logic. Prince of Persia as a universe and a legacy continues to matter deeply to us, and this decision does not mean we're stepping away from the franchise. Okay. Thank you for your passion, patience, and love for Prince of Persia, the Prince of Persia team. Now, I want to point our eyes to a few things. If you go to their social media account, if it's still there, literally every single announcement they've ever made has been an update about this remake and from the dev team and what's going on with this particular remake. Literally just talking about this remake, and then suddenly they cancel this remake. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, it's kind of funny. I think we called it out that, you know what? Remakes are being seen as a cash cow, and this should just be easy money. Yet it would seem in this particular case, Ubisoft thought it was not going to be easy money, and this was the cost for it. But it gets even worse because this wasn't just a remake, John and Daniel, that was just like in development, quote unquote, hell. No, this had been in the pipeline, almost gone through all the different phases of development. Apparently, there was a leak of the game, and it looked overall almost finished. And not to say anything more, but one particular individual voiced their concerns, having spent 3 years voice acting the game. Here we go. Aman Hayaz. She worked on this game for over 3 years of her entire life. Her voice lines, she gave her entire life to this project, and now it's just canned. It's gone. It's just kaput. It just does not exist at all. On top of that, our good old friend Jordan Mechner, who is the creator of Prince of Persia and worked on The Sands of Time, as well as the screenplay to the Sands of Time Hollywood film that, you know, maybe we shouldn't talk about that one, but he did work on that particular project. He had some words to say about this and how deeply disheartened he was about this. The big negative about this, John and Daniel, is this. There's a lot of young creative people that they spent a considerable amount of time of their lives on this project. They were hoping to put this on the resume. Getting something like this on the resume puts them on the map and makes them marketable, and now they have nothing to show for it. If there's anything in the productive world, it's about what have you shipped, what have you done lately, and now 3 years is completely gone. Now, why am I sharing this? Am I just saying this so we can say this is bad? We should just point the fingers at Ubisoft? No. I'm saying this because I am asking our people that are listening to our podcast, and I'm saying to anyone else that's listening or people that don't want to listen prior to, there's a way to solve this. Buy shittier games and enjoy them. And by buy shittier games, I'm not saying blow your entire budget on it. I'm saying you see a Steam sale, something pops up, it's $3.99, buy that shitty game. It doesn't have to be the most amazing and incredible game, because it seems that in this case, Ubisoft put this particular remake on a particular pedestal that had to satisfy a particular requirement. And for that supposed reason, and that's their reasoning, right? That's what they're saying. That's why they shelved the project. Now, we are smarter than that. We know that there's far more nefarious mechanizations for that. We know for a fact that they probably were under financially for other projects that had nothing to do with Prince of Persia, and they just had to cut their losses. Plus, it's a really great tax break if they can cut this off significantly. That's me and my personal opinion. I don't know that for a fact. But what we can always do is show developers, hey, to let projects like this not die for as long as they do, we are willing to spend money on the dumb, stupid projects. I hate it when a studio shuts down a game like this, tries to pin it on quote unquote costs, tries to pin it on the game not satisfying a certain level of quality. When we as gamers, you know what, we just want to spend our couple of dollars that we have on some fun, and we can show them that we're not always going to buy the AAA release every single time. I'm curious to hear John's thoughts, but I'll just put my heart on my sleeve for just a moment. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorites. It's absolutely phenomenal. I was convinced this remake was going to be no good. Here's the thing. I still wish it came out, because then all these wonderfully hardworking people would have seen the fruits of their labor. And I probably would have picked it up, probably on a sale, just to see how it is. And I would not have felt like it attacked my vision of what Sands of Time would have been. It would have just been its own thing. So again, Ubisoft's logic of like, oh, it wouldn't measure up to our standards. That's actually a big, giant middle finger to all the people that worked on that game, as if to imply they didn't do their job right. Because I think they probably did. They did exactly the best they possibly could have done.
Man, this thing that you were so proud of that you spent 3 years voice acting for, we don't want to give you a subpar product. We're so sorry. We don't want to give you this slop that someone poured their heart and soul into.
I have very little to say except the idea of not making it to Ubisoft standards. I don't know. Like, my jumping standards are 1 inch off the ground. Like, have you played the latest insert Ubisoft game here? They're not putting out the best and brightest because they're a form-following company that does what's safe, because they're cowards who want money. So, which also doesn't fucking work. Like, it does sometimes. Sometimes you make Madden.
So to be clear,
money.
Sometimes you make Madden.
I don't want to come across as a hypocrite here. There have been a few Ubisoft games I've really enjoyed, knowing they are very just whatever. I've done the gamer crunch on them. I obsessed over Far Cry 3. Blood Dragon's one of the best. I don't care if that's an asset flip. There have been a couple Ubisoft titles, but I mean, you're right. I mean, to say it's about quality, like, dude, we knew what game you were going to make. You were going to make a game where you held one button and you just ran forward the entire time. That's the game you've been making for the past 20 years. So again, I'm not bringing this up just to get mad. If you feel impassioned by this, you might feel like there's nothing you can do. And sure, if you want to boycott Ubisoft, you can. I'm not going to suggest you do that. What you can do, feel free in whatever way you can, the spoons that you have, play shittier games to show devs and publishers that you don't need the umpteenth level of whatever to throw a couple dollars that way to enjoy something. Because I think that's what we all can do. We can all enjoy something regardless of that. I would add so much more to that, but I'm not going to, because I'm sure that's going to clear up in some other show.
I have so much to say, and I only wish I had an outlet for all of these things that I want to say. Somebody should make that thing.
They should. Well, that was my thing. Things are all good. I think the show can be wrapped up. We're done. I'm sure there's no larger encompassing topic that John wants to talk about that we're going to talk about, right, Daniel? We're going to cut him off right here. We're done with this. We're just
yeah. That is the end.
So I have a fetish, and my fetish is I really like a good seg. Like, if we're talking and you go shlabloop into the next topic, like, you have to like the fluidity of it. Look how good that looks. Look how good that looks. 4K. But like, we're like here and now we're here. And I'm just like, so narratively satisfying. What a smooth flow. What an orator. What a storyteller. In complete contrast to that, here's the topic we're going to talk about. Because I can't transition from Ubisoft to this. I might try.
I will find a way to connect the dots.
Okay.
There's one thread and it's anger, but we'll deal with
First
that.
off, I have a fetish. Wild way to start a sentence.
Seriously. Mm-hmm.
Also,
I have multiple.
That fetish is a fluid fetish, in fact. Very nice. Awesome.
Fetish.
Love that for you. Love that.
A fluid fetish. If you don't play a game with yourself yet where you say things as a sound check, start doing it. You're going to have a better life. Like, just if anything feels crispy on the tongue, just fucking run that shit back and be like, a fluid fetish. Try it at home. Try it right now. If you did, you're my new best friend. If you didn't, I still think you're great. It's fine. Whoa, isn't that weird? I was just talking. It was me. I was talking. Now I'm interrupting myself. You don't get to do that very often. Why would I do that? Why would I disrupt this crafted content our editor has so carefully put together and we put a basic level of effort into? It's because I want to tell you what I need, and what I need is help. We love doing this show. We're happy to do it out of the goodness of our hearts. But if you like this show and want to get more of it, we would encourage you to scooch on over to our Patreon for the tune of $3.99. You can join our special club. You get private access to our stuff early. You can give us questions that we will answer early, and we will also love you forever and say your name at the end of the episode. And if you don't, you're probably still great. But, you know, if you got a few bucks to spare, we'd appreciate it. Bye. Back to me.
John lied to you. Not back to John. To me. Speaking of our Patreon, I want to give a quick shout out to the people who pay us money on there. Isn't that fancy? Isn't that nice? We have God of Grunts, we have Aid, we have JP, we have William Kirk. I almost said Samuel Kirk. I almost said you, Sam. Who
Some
I'm
say we
speaking
have
to.
a visage to with each other. Some say we do.
And not to forget, our dear friend Robert Restant. Thank you, everyone. Your support does mean a lot to us. And if you would also like to mean a lot to us, then you can also support us and pay us a little bit of money. Back to the podcast.
So I want to talk about, seeing as how you so quickly became my new best friend, the relationships that men have. That's a saying. Was it good? It was more like, viewers, it was a bad hand gesture. You won't appreciate it. Viewers? Listeners? I'm frazzled. I don't like Ubisoft very much. So we have two topics. Today, my notes today say twofer. I got a 2-for-1 special for you today. Topic
If it's a twofer, is it secretly a threefer?
I'm pretty bad at math, but I don't think this makes sense to me. Maybe.
Is that how it works? Do you go like 2 for, 3 for, 4 for,
4 for,
5 for?
4 for. 4 for. Fix the 4 for, friend. So as I was saying, the topics for today include loneliness epidemic in men. If you don't say the, it sounds so fucking weird. One topic is loneliness epidemic in men. No, it's the loneliness epidemic in men. I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about relationships, and the tagline of that half, put it on. We're going to put it on in big shiny letters. So editor Daniel, see, this is like the miscreen energy that I enjoy. So big shiny letters arcing around my head. I'm picturing a firework or two, maybe like a unicorn horn, something like that. Could be fun. And it'll say, I was going to do a thing I don't want to do anymore. It's too much work. But no relationship is better than a bad relationship. And obviously, if you're a clever Carl, you've been able to draw the parallel there, because if you're lonely and you're like, I need to get a relationship of some sort, I'll just have this one. Oh, it's really bad, but I got to have it because it's the one that I have. And that's the tying thread there. So before I get into my splendors of knowledge, I would ask these fine gentlemen if they have any objections or thoughts or queries. Or 4 for 4.
Ha 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 ha. Not yet.
Good. Keep it that way. So I would start by talking about men. So there's a YouTube channel that I enjoy. It's some more news. They're pretty fun. And there was one like very kind of like playfully clickbaity title. It's like, men, are you okay? And then the answer is like, no. And I say that not in a way like men are bad, because I even noticed, but I am a man on a show with 2 other men, so we're quite manly around.
And just to be clear, we would never have made that assumption, so we thank you for identifying as such, so we know that's the way it is.
Happy to do it. No, I enjoy being a man. It's pretty great. There's a lot of cool perks. Some of them include, like, I don't know, just like being physically big. I can do a thing. I'm tall, and having a beard's pretty fun. You know, well, you can't wear a cape, so like it's not everybody who gets to do all the perks. But there's a lot of things. There's obviously some societal perks, and I feel like it would be reductivist to get into that, but like they're pretty fucking obvious and numerous. But I do want to draw attention to like some of the struggles men face, and frankly, how we can help them, because we need some help in a country way, in a world way. I kind of get into that. So talk about men as a biological creature, because a lot of this shit gets conflated with things that have been assigned via gender roles over time. One of those things is that men have like a weird like fighty thing. This is real. I was in a psychology course on evolutionary psych once, and they started the class, and Dr. Frank McAndrew said something like, just so you know, all of the men in this classroom have sized each other up and decided who would win in a fight. And a lot of the women in the class were like, that's not real. And they're like, no, we did. And it's not like a scary thing, like, I'm going to fucking kill Tim. And it's just like, that's how your brain works. There is a level of just like kind of aggression built into the package. Testosterone is a hell of a drug. Some of my clients are trans and they have started taking testosterone under the care of a prescriber. It's been a really cool thing to see. You see a lot of great joy there, but there are some really fun and adorable things along the way where they'll be like, John, I am so horny all the time. Like I can't, this is insane. And it's like, yeah, no, that's part of the package. And like, there's just a bunch of like little biochemical things. And like, I don't know, these things I think are fun to resting, but what I really want to do is separate out some of the stuff that we've been bred to do, that we've been taught and culturally like built in to do, that's made men kind of weird. So one of the things that I'll talk about right out of the gate ties to our past show from last week is there is a fear of vulnerability, which is kind of oxymoronic if you hang out with it for too long. So don't think about it too long, but there's this idea of like
fear of being a panda.
Yeah, you just don't want to be a panda. I really enjoy the way that most of my diet is in bamboo. I would hate to mess that up. Panda fact checkers, please tell me if that's not what pandas mostly eat, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing. But this idea of like, if I am vulnerable, I will be like attacked. If I show that I am feeling a sad feeling, it will be addressed in an unkind way. If you are an American man and you've played some sort of sports, I would bet a lot of money you've had some sort of coach or teammate tell you to fucking toughen up in some capacity. It has happened to me. It has been said to me by people who love me and care about me, but there's a level of like, fucking shut it, Merrick, get back on the fucking ice or whatever else. And it's built in as a strong thing, like be tough, be strong. And we get coached to do this. So what happens is, in the gentler version, I, Johnny Sportsman, am playing the sport with my friend Daniel and Sam, and I go, you guys, we got fucking killed out there. That felt really bad. I think I'm not doing very good, and I feel kind of sad. And then Daniel, alpha male dick that he is like, well, that's because you're fucking shitty at the sport, you piece of garbage. And Sam, also alpha male dick that he is like, yeah, you're holding us back and you're weak.
Even though
And
I'm
my
a
little
short
brain-
one, it's your fault. Yeah.
Well, it's true.
I did say that. I did say those
Yeah.
things.
And I made the mistake of being vulnerable and telling you guys I had a feeling. So you correctly, put me back into submission. And that is what it is when it's done gently, is like signaling of like, don't be vulnerable here. This isn't a safe place, which among men is actually occasionally a kindness, because it's much better than the next guy actually coming at you and being like, you're the fucking problem, which feels very bad. But it coaches you not to be vulnerable. Another little kind of preview that we're talking about soon. There's a kind of culturalization about like, it's okay to be vulnerable in a few specific spots. 1, person dies. 2, your dog. 3, your significant other. That's kind of it. If you ever watched a movie and you feel you're about to cry and then you're like, don't do it, that's an interesting moment, because that movie was likely made to give you that emotion, and there's a piece of you that's resisting it. Biologically, your body would benefit from doing it. You never are about to cry because it's bad for you. Like, that's not a thing. Your body's trying to release some stuff. But what we've
Imagine
learned
being
is,
told don't poop.
it's the same. It's the same. Don't breathe, don't poop, don't sneeze, don't blink. It's all the fucking same. It's a biological process. But we get told vulnerability is weak, which is fucking sidebar, and I can't do enough with this, but like, vulnerability is strong. It is very easy to say nothing. It is very hard to say this is my pain. If you disagree with me on that, feel free to tell me.
I will back you up that the highest
You're
esteemed
wrong.
leaders across the entire globe are those that are willing to be vulnerable and honest. And believe it or not, even though it feels like you're doing something that comes across as weak, everyone else goes, oh my gosh, that guy's such a strong person. That person is such a strong person for saying those things. Yeah.
Well,
Continue.
oh no, totally. I would build right off of that. So once again, I'm a therapist in my day job, and I've had a lot of.
What's your night job?
I don't know. You'd have to pay to know more about that. That's a different channel.
Fair enough.
I've had a lot of clients, and by a lot I mean like 5 to 7-ish, who have been coaches at a level of significance. Like they're pretty good at it, and there's often a piece of like frustration with the team because of the things I'm talking about right now. And the coaches and the coaches who are my clients, will talk about like ways that they can do what they want to do while also supporting their team. And there's a scariness, especially when you're coaching teenagers, to being vulnerable, because if you are, they're going to turn on you and be like, oh, you're weak and you don't actually know what you're doing. Now, of course, that's fucking insane. And what happens when it actually happens, without fail, in my career, by the way, is that they go out of their way to tell you overtly that they respect you. Like, it makes a difference. There's a thing with teenagers that we could talk about now and forever and every time forever, but like, your brain kind of clicks right around 12, 13-ish to start valuing status. as a real adult TM who's older than teenagers, you inherently have more status and more validity. And if you, I don't know, if you go and you're like, oh, teenagers, why aren't we good? That's not the same thing as being vulnerable. If you go in there and you're like, you guys, I can tell that we're not putting our best effort out there and we're fucking around during practice and it's making me disappointed. I had higher hopes for you than this and I want to. You can be stern about it too, but you can just show some vulnerability. It makes a difference.
I really
This is
appreciate
point
your
one of four.
Aziz Ansari impression right there. That was pretty good.
That's Aziz Ansari's John impression. I'm fucking older than he is, so he can just get that shit right back. But the next one is hyper independence. Men get coached to be hyper independent. Sidebar: This is not good. This is very bad.
Nope.
You do want to be self sufficient in lots of ways because that's cool and it makes you very capable. Hyper independence means you're neglecting other members of your creature. You're supposed to play on a team. This is like a person being like, I'm a good football player. I'll be the quarterback and the offensive line. That's dumb. You're going to
try doing that. That's pretty brutal.
It's called getting tackled.
It's called getting tackled. It's called being Tom Brady and retiring twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the thing, right? Is like we're like the idea of like the lone wolf as a romanticized figure is so fucking funny because wolves are in packs. Like that's the point of wolves. Like they're a group. There can be a leader of a wolf who's like, I'm the coach of the wolves. They probably don't say that. They probably say like, aroo, but they still like go with the other wolves. It's a whole thing. Sidebar. In Minnesota, there are wolf sanctuaries and you can see wolves do stuff and it's amazing. I just need to quickly acknowledge that. It's really cool. Do it if you have a chance. But hyper-independence is viewed as a strength because we've been coached to do it. I'll let you guess why, but I'll hint at a couple of things. One, it prevents people from having to feel their feelings. They don't have to be vulnerable, so it's more of that. And two, these people are easy to manipulate. Because
You're
if
saying
you are,
it's a response to trauma? What?
I didn't say that, but I did heavily imply it, and now I'm saying it. But that's the other thing too, is like, if I have no Sam and Daniel and I'm feeling hurt by a thing and I sit here and fester and brood about it, no one validates my emotions. That signal doesn't go off. I begin to be impacted and compromised. Like I am now a worse animal. I am less good at my job. I'm less effective. I take longer to heal. This is just reducing your healing speed and effectiveness. It is a failure. And yet we praise it because it is not vulnerable because we're scared of vulnerability. Part 3, cultural communication styles. I'm going to be quick on this part because there's too much to cover. There's a phenomenon called machismo, which is all about like strength. And there's like some specific cultures that have specific rules within it. But occasionally you'll come across people who are doing vulnerable stuff and like a thing will get poked. And it's like, oh, hang on. My role here is to be like a provider or strong or like a gendered role thing. I'm not going to get into those woods, but there's not, and not for lack of like comfort doing it, but I don't want to spend 45 minutes on that. But there's a level of
if you
like,
want to spend 45 minutes on it, go ahead and join our Patreon and let us know. We'll be happy to join and talk for 45 minutes ad nauseum, nonstop about that particular
I'll do it
topic.
for you.
Anyway,
but the long and short of it, the long and short of it's funny if you know the next thing I'm going to say, because the next thing is brevity. We think that it's manly to be brief, to be like, yes, are you good? I'm fine. Like all that kind of shit. We think that that is strong because it's under stoicism. Stoicism, I'm actually not against. The concept of what stoicism is portrayed to be, I am very against, because it's suffering in silence. If you think it's good to suffer in silence, I would ask you simply why. And I would offer you the reason that I think people want you to suffer in silence, because it makes you easy to manipulate. Once again, without a team to tell you, hey, I notice you keep toiling in that field for that overlord. Is he paying you well? No, we should overthrow him. You just toil. And then he goes, you're such a good little servant. Thanks for working so hard. Yes, your knees are falling apart and you're so tired and I haven't paid you very well, but you're very brave and strong and I admire you. And you go, haha, I'm a good boy. And then you fucking die. So like, that's not stoicism. Stoicism is fine. That's another topic for another day. Last one is what I like to call the default failsafe for men. This is especially true in America, though I suspect it's true elsewhere, which is when you have the big feelings, you just get real small and quiet. Because you can maintain the outlook of like, or the presentation of like, I'm fine, I'm strong, I'm okay. And everything goes in here. And you get real small. Perhaps you have seen, even in film, a couple interacting at one party just gets real quiet and sits there and like, why aren't you fucking saying anything? A of all, there's some trauma response shit to this. And B of all, it's because I can't go to vulnerability. So those are the big 4 pillars that block things and also contribute to loneliness in men. There's actually a couple more things, but Thoughts on anything before I ramble further, because those are big.
I have quite a few thoughts. You talked about men having the need for brevity, and I feel the need to give a shout out to a very famous author, Dave Barry. You ever hear of Dave Barry, John or Daniel?
Surely do. I surely have.
He's a
yes.
fun little comedian guy. And I'm going to read a passage from one of his books called The Complete Guide to Guys to give another illustrative point about men's programming towards brevity. The section is called Guys Are Not Great at Communicating Their Intimate Feelings, Assuming They Have Any. That's the joke. He's a comedian, okay? He says, this is an aspect of guyhood that is very frustrating to women. A guy will be reading the newspaper and the phone will ring. He'll answer it. He'll listen for 10 minutes, hang up, and resume reading. Finally, his wife will say, who was that? And he'll say, Phil Wonkerman's mom. Phil is an old friend they haven't heard from in 17 years. And the wife will say, well? And the guy will say, what? The wife will say, what did she say? The guy will say, she said Phil is fine. Making it clear his tone of voice in chat, although he does not wish to be rude, he is trying to read the newspaper, and he happens to be right in the middle of an important panel of Calvin and Hobbes. But the wife, ignoring this, will say, that's all she said? And she will just not let up. She will continue to ask district attorney-style questions, forcing the guy to recount the conversation until she's satisfied that she has the entire story, which is that Phil has just got out of prison after serving a sentence for a murder he committed when he became a drug addict because of the guilt he felt when his wife died in a freak submarine accident while Phil was having an affair with a nun, but now he's all straightened out and he has a good job as a trapeze artist and is almost through with the surgical part of his sex change and recently became happily engaged to marry a prominent member of the Grateful Dead. So in other words, he is fine, which is exactly what the guy told her in the first place. But is that enough? No, she wants to hear every single detail. And the story goes on. And I just think that's hilarious and funny because unfortunately, guys think that's cool. That's funny. That's neat. Like, say as little as you possibly can. And it is funny. But the truth is, it's not great. Communication almost always solves all problems. I was just telling my wife about this. We watched the last season of this show called Bridgerton. I'm not a Bridgerton fan, but we watched it. And it's funny because at the end of it, we're just like, all this would have been solved if they would just talk to each other, if they just communicated. The entire subtext of the show is we will not say what we're actually feeling. Makes for great drama, does not make for great lifing or relationships or anything of that nature, which I'm sure John's going to talk about the fact that because we get no training elsewhere, our only other source of information is pop culture, TV, movies, and that's not a great model in any capacity whatsoever. But yes, continue on, John.
Nailed it. Very well said. And I would validate, well, that's a funny bit. And there are some and I do want to make sure I mention this. There are some upsides to the traditional male way of being. One of the it's a stereotype, but also it is true. At least in my experience, I'll have a friend, one of my best friend in the land. His name is Kevin. He's a really good dude. Met him when I was 5. We've been boys ever since. And once in a while, we won't talk for 3 or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, more maybe. And he's like, hey, man. And I'm like, hey. And then we're just right back where we were. The upkeep on that relationship is 0 and it will never miss a dosage. We're just I'm still invested. I care about you. You can knock on that door anytime and I'll be there. And the maintenance is very low. And that's weird. And it's a kind of a man thing. And not in a women don't get it, but in a way of I don't know. It's an upside to the weird structural shit I'm talking about is we can just be well, you're my friend though. So I've established that. So we can just resume that, which is nice. But
yeah, we do this thing, not to cut you off, but we do this thing where if I haven't seen someone in 10 years, I don't go, oh my gosh, tell me everything I've missed. It's you will tell me exactly what you want me to know. And that is totally fine. I'm just happy we're in the space and we know that we're friends forever. And then you will tell me what you want me to know. But if you don't want me to know, I'm not going to poke into it. And that is a weird guy thing. It is weird.
It is. There's a meetup that a lot of my friends go to once a year. And you will see people for 3 days and you are thick as thieves. And it's amazing. And I'll go to it every year till I'm dead. And then I won't talk to half of those guys for I don't know, 8 months more. But when I see them, I'm no, I'm just glad to be with you. And it's very sincere. So I'm not saying that the way that things is terrible, but the way that it is limiting to a lot of things that can make it be terrible. Sam gave me an incredible seg, and as a fetishist, god damn, that was good. Insofar as how there's a lack of education on handling things, I would talk about 3 things.
If it's 4,
in ascending order
no, 3 things
of problems. Yeah. So the first one is it's both not okay and funny. I used to work in a rehab program, and there was a guy who was one of my clients, in a group, and I really like this guy. I really, really like this guy. He fancied himself a bit of a ladies' man, which I would not confirm, but he thought he was. And there was a colleague of mine who he found to be very physically attractive. And I do think this was kind of cleverly done, but it sucked, and you'll see what's happening. And if you don't, that's the point of the story. He goes up to her in the hallway, and he goes, "Oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on later?" And she goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, like, "Don't we have an appointment sometime?" Which is like a little bit like you're being a silly guy. But also she was like, "No." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And like he kind of leaned into it a little too far.
Boy.
So she was like, "This is not appropriate." And he was like, "What?" So then he comes and talks to me, and he's like, "Why did she get all mad?" And I was like, "Well, do you?" And I tried to be very respectful. I was like, "Do you not know for real?" He was like, "No, I don't fucking know." And I talked to him about like boundaries and how to talk to people and like the appropriate places that you can flirt with people and stuff. And I think he at first was like, "Oh, John's just saying some shit," but then he was kind of like, "Oh, fuck. Like, I didn't know." And like, he's a good guy. He didn't think he was playing a vicious card or trying to be shitty or invade in her space. He thought he was just like being passively flirty and shooting his shot.
Because that's how we're taught. We're taught, be a little flirty, do that thing. It's fine. Yeah.
And the second thing I would lead to is this norm has improved with time. How many fucking friends do I have who are women who are approached by men in the workplace, be they coworkers or whatever, who are just, they'll say things like, the one that sounds innocent but is not is the smile more, which is just like, "Oh, because I should look happy for you," which is its own gross thing. Or the like, "Are you seeing anybody because you need a boyfriend?" Like, there's just this level of like, it's well intended, but it's old timey sexist bullshit. And it is very hard to call this out because the person will get genuinely offended. They'll be like, "I'm just trying to talk to you. I'm just trying to be like, they do not know." And it's very frustrating because to tell this person that, especially if you're the woman in question, you have to be like, "I'm going to tell you you're doing something wrong. I'm going to make you feel foolish. I'm going to," and they're not trying to do that. But this shit's been drilled in forever.
I want to interrupt you for just a moment.
Please,
I'm sorry to break
always
your thought,
do.
because this
Feel
is
free.
something that's important to me. There's a thing that men are taught as well, to do a very grandiose, big, large gesture if you decide to propose to a woman. And look, okay, if your lady friend is into that and she's excited for it, cool. Most time though, it's a surprise. Most time it's engineered in a specific way to be in a very specific fashion. So it's massive and big. And there's of course a court of public opinion all observing you as you do that thing. I'm here to tell you though, gentlemen who are maybe listening or watching, whether you know it or not, if you are doing this, you are actually socially engineering the situation to ensure that this person feels significant peer pressure, so that way they can't say no to you. And that, whether you believe it or not, is actually a bit shitty, because they have two options now. They either agree and acquiesce to you and say yes, even if they don't truly feel like it because they're giving into the pressure, or they have the bravery to be honest with themselves and say no. Makes everyone look shitty, but it also makes them look really shitty because the expectation on women is that they should just always say yes when those things happen. So I'm really passionate about this thing. You can do whatever you want. If your partner have a dynamic, go for it. But second guess your inclination to always go down that path. You have it based on prior programming. It's not necessarily healthy. A question only works if there's an out for the other person if they want to go the other way, and that's the only way to really do that. Continue, John. Sorry.
No, brilliant seg. Once again, I would offer a pro tip for this. If you're ever going to get a pet, a proposal, or a purchase that's a significant amount of money, know what they want before you ask. Don't do surprises with this, because Sam is exactly right. It's an ambush. If you are asking a person if they'll marry you and you haven't figured this shit out yet, it is not romantic. And this isn't me shaming people if you've done that. Like, I don't want you to feel bad because, A, we've been coached to do that. But I don't know. It has like a pop quiz element at best. And also, social pressure makes people do things. And I can give you the science on this another time or this time. But like, if I think everyone is doing this thing, or I think we're supposed to do this thing, I'm just going to do it. And then I'm going to undo it later. This is it. Save yourself some time, make you and your person happier, know ahead of time.
And I'll just add a little caveat from my own personal experience. It feels really good, though, to get that yes, knowing that person could have absolutely said no. It feels even better, even. So just FYI.
Yeah, no, So, the third ramp up here isn't shitty thing at work. These are all like under the head education of like how to communicate with people, specifically RE relationships. A friend of mine is on the internet, and she cosplays and she does quite well. And her page is publicly available, and you can already see where this is going. And there's this guy who saw it and was like, "That's really good." And then, like a normal person, he commented on it and tried to talk with her. Wait, that's not what happened at all. He sifted through years of posts and wrote her a handwritten letter and found where she worked, which wasn't posted anywhere online, and showed up with it. Now, if you heard that and went, "What's wrong with that?" I want to be kind to you because you might not know. That's a massive violation of privacy. If people give you information, you're free to use that information. If I give you my number, I'm cool with you texting me or calling me. If you got it from somebody else, I do not want you to. I don't want that. I don't want that. And if you are a person who knows a bunch of shit about me and I don't know a bunch of shit about you, we don't have a relationship. You have a fascination with me. And the thing is, like, this person, I think maybe a little shit going on there, but like, I don't think that he thought he was being villainous. I don't think he thought he was cornering her or being scary, but also like he was. So she, like a fucking cool badass, puts her phone down, hits record, and is like, "This is not okay. You cannot do this." Has the camera, syncs it up with like the footage from where she was working. What a fucking badass. She's so cool. Anyway, fast forward a few weeks. Dude comes back with a basket full of gifts and flowers as an apology.
Bro doubled
Once again,
down. He doubled down.
There is no relationship here. And this particular friend of mine is just a fucking badass and handled this very well and was like, "This is inappropriate." And he was like, "Well, you can keep the gift." She was like, "I will not. I want nothing from you." And here's some stuff to think about, right? So the camera at the place doesn't record sound. And if she takes the thing from him and then he later violates a norm with her, there's evidence that she accepted a thing. And men, this is a thing that I don't think we think about because you just never had reason to. A lot of women are constantly afraid of men because it's not, like just like Johnny friendly boy who's it's like the scary one. And this guy, I think, well-intentioned, creepy weirdo, but like maybe he wasn't. And we don't necessarily realize that we're talking to a person whose guard is like super up because they've been, also frankly, the other side of the coaching is they're afraid. There was this thing a while ago, and I'm sure many of you have heard of this, where women were saying, would they rather be trapped alone with a bear or a man? And bear won by a lot, which is fucking bad. Because if you've seen a bear before, they'll fucking kill you. And they're huge. You can't talk to a bear. But the idea was you also can't talk to a man, and he probably has worse intentions. So here's some stuff. I don't think that's true about every man. I'm a man. I've never assaulted a person. I intend to keep it the way for the rest of my life. It's going really great. But a lot of these things come from a place of rejection, feeling bad about ourselves. And the things I'm trying to get to and share about today is we get coached that, like, be a cool, strong, tough boy long enough, someone will gravitate to you. And until you get that person, you can never be vulnerable. Yeah. What a fucking disaster. That's so goddamn stupid. And I get a little defensive about it because I feel so bad for men who don't have positive female relationships in their life because, sidebar, this is how incels are formed. They're just like, well, this is forbidden fruit and I can't have it. And they don't think I'm fucking good enough. Sidebar, if you are somehow an incel who tripped and fell into this, first of all, thanks for like checking it out and like giving it a shot and not just being angry. There's actually a really quick recipe to like help this out. It's like love yourself. Like, work on yourself, become a person that you like. I shit you not, it is that easy. If you're a person that you like, another person will like you. That's a fucking stone cold fact. If you need a person to like yourself, you are going the wrong direction with this. And I promise you, no matter how great that relationship with that person is, it's unsustainable.
And if you don't like yourself and somehow acquire a mate who is attracted to you in spite of that, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anyone. I can almost guarantee that person has the thought of, I can fix them. And you don't want that. Even if you think you do, you don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
No party wants that.
You don't want that. Here's the thing. I'm going to cut you off, Sam, if you had more I wanted to.
Go, yeah.
If you do successfully fix that person, which you won't, but if you do, they're now dependent on you for maintenance. This is now no longer a relationship of two equals that love each other and build things up. this is my pet project. I have to keep it running. And you know what pet projects don't like? People getting frustrated with them and changing what they're doing. If you are, hey, decide, I don't know, since we did last episode last week and this episode this week, and they were different weeks, I should remember when we talked about this. I'm going to just come at it a different way and just skip the whole thing. But there's this thing of like learning to love yourself takes time. Being cool with yourself takes time. That's a little bit scary. But I'm telling you, there is no better investment because people can sense it. If you like yourself, people are like, oh, that's where the confidence comes from. And that's a really nice thing. Because if you're like, yeah, no, I like these things about myself. I've built myself around these things. This is my control room. This is how I work. This is my instrument. And people are like, that instrument's fucking weird, but you play it so well. They'll be drawn to that. Whereas if you're like, I have made this hideous trumpet out of scrap metal because I was informed you like trumpets. Here's what it sounds like. You're just like, no, that's upsetting. Here's the thing. I've been on dates with a bunch of people. I've dated a lot of people for serial long-term relationships. And the thing that feels the best is when you and another person are both like, oh my God, I'm so glad I found you.
Yes.
Like, wow, I'm so fucking lucky to be with you. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And when someone says that and they feel that towards you, it's all worth it because they like you for the person you actually are. If you're like, I need to get more buff so people will like me, terrible news ahead, my friend. You should get more buff. It's fun. There's ways. Become strong. It's great. You should do it. But if you're doing it to get love, what you're doing is saying, I am inherently unworthy of this. Hopefully this masquerade will last long enough that a person can fall for it. And if that person does fall for it, they like you for temporary reasons. Please don't do this to yourself.
Circa, go back to our honeymoon episode to see more about that.
Exactly.
It's also one of those as well that I'm going to get buff so people will like. No, the people who like buff people will like you.
True.
There are a lot of people who don't like buff people whatsoever. And so if you're going to do something like that, do it for you. Do it for no one else but yourself. Do it because you want to get big and buff, not because you think it will attract people.
Yeah.
Which meta commentary. A lot of bodybuilding is actually propagated by the fact that men care more about the way they look than women do. But anyway, yes.
No, that's really true.
The gym scenario of like, none of the women care, but like the bros will come up to you and just be like, you look so good, dude. Like you look so
which we should talk about and celebrate real quick. So I will tell you, in my life, there have been periods of strength where I have been physically more built. And the times that I have felt the best have no romantic aspects to them whatsoever. I was working in my job, and one of my clients in a group I was running went up to me and said, damn, Merrick, you've been lifting? That sweater's going to pop off. And I could have screamed out of joy. It felt so good to be validated by somebody who knew what I was doing. They knew the effort required to have the success that I've had. And it just felt so nice. And if you get into this for that reason and just like celebrating, this can actually be like a really healthy man thing. Like, participating in communal, this is why sports are actually amazing, because you like get to be vulnerable in a specific context. It's built into the thing. Asterisk, it can be done super wrong. But there's a level of like handling a loss as a team and enjoying a win as a team. Oh my God. I'm a little biased by my shirt, you can tell. But if you go to YouTube, which you may be on right now, and you type in Ben Johnson, good, better, best, there's a thing when the Bears win a game where all the guys get together and he has this little chant. It's very like dorky. But it makes you feel so happy to watch because they're all just like so happy for each other and so warm and kind and excited. And it's like a really cool thing. So like sports can be an amazing part of this. Once again, a lot of the shit that's part of like manhood is awesome and fun. I'm not trying to knock it. Like even the stereotypical ones, like firing a gun off, drinking a beer, wearing flannel, incredible. Would recommend. It's really fun. Driving a big old truck feels really good. Like, but don't fall into the don't be vulnerable. Don't fall into the I have to be alone. Don't fall into the sharing my shit is weak. And also like truly, and I know I can't just say this, people will just do it, but like if you build a relationship with yourself where you're like, that's my boy, I like that guy, he's really cool, people will feel it. Yeah. I promise you. I've done both. I tried to be cool or tough or fucking whatever and shit, and nobody gave a shit. It was stupid. And then I like worked on myself and I'm happy, and like suddenly people like me. What a coincidence. I'm telling you it works. And once again, it's not, as Sam often says, this isn't a one-stop shop. Go do it. You're great now. Like this is years of effort. Like it takes a lot of time, but you can do it. I know I did. Okay. I have two things to say and transition to, but before I do, I want to show you one of my boys. Speaking of boys, If you have
And
thoughts.
John, as you speak about this, I just also want to create a little bit of validation for me and my truth. I remember the time in which I wouldn't have called myself an incel, but I was definitely the guy chasing and lurking the women, thinking that was what you had to do, right? And there's almost a direct correlation to the moment when I decided I made a rule for myself that I'm not going to chase anyone anymore. No more chasing, nothing. I'm going to be me, and we will see what happens. And that has a direct correlation to my own overall happiness, my self-worth, attracting the right people, having the right connections and relationship, regardless if they're romantic or not. Just overall, just good vibes all around. And I recommend that to a lot of people because I think there's a propagating machine of chase, chase, chase. People are excited by it. It's sexy. It's kind of addicting. It's arousing even. But I'm telling you, you have good self-worth. There's no chase involved at all. Now it is fearful because then you have the fear of going, okay, well, what if I don't find the right person, the right thing? Well, that's another conversation about the whole chaos machine of life, my friend. I wouldn't worry about that so much. If you can focus on the things you can control, which is just you'll be a lot happier and you'll be very, very surprised by the results.
Okay, so this is a really high concept thing. If I lose anybody here, I'm sorry. And
You've already lost me. I'm out. Done.
I figured as much. Well, we tried. He's kind of the quitter. Welcome back. Good to see you. This is a really high EQ concept, right? So a lot of things people do. This is a men thing, and this is a relationships thing. Men thing first. A lot of things people do or men do that are like stereotypy or tropey actually require incredibly high EQ. I'll give you an example. And this is one that I do all the time, is like shit talk. I am a shit talker. I have some friends whom our relationship is based on just tearing each other down. And if you're like, that sounds very unhealthy, let me tell you why it's not. It's because both me and the people I participate with this in have high enough EQ to be able to signal, I really care about you. If this hurts your feelings, I don't want to do it anymore. This is supposed to be playful. It's based on an in-joke, which is that I actually love you and I respect you and I want you to feel good about yourself. Hence, I have the leeway to do this. And what happens is, if you haven't experienced this, I want you to know it. Like, this can make it really feel very good. So there's a guy that I play video games with on the internet. His name is Jason. He has an internet name, but I feel like that's more vulnerable to say than his actual name.
It's hilarious.
And like when we are in voice together, especially with other people around, we just like are like, oh, you're so fucking obvious. What a stupid choice. Like, why would you do that? Like, that's so fucking dumb. You're such a trash player. But at the end of every set when we're playing, he's always like, good game, man. I was like, good game, incredible stuff. You're amazing. Like, I love that guy. I'd go to bat for that guy without fail. Jason, for all of his trying to hide it, has an incredibly high EQ. And I try. I do my best. If you don't have this and you try to do shit talk with people, one person at least will feel terrible and it will become actual anger. And this is not fun at all. And it just boils over immediately. But since we don't ever fucking talk about how this works, you don't know that it's happening. And some people just walk around with the concept of I shit talk because that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm just mean to my friends. Mm-hmm. That sucks.
Shit talking. I mean, we can talk about this at another time, but I mean, the healthy kind, you have gotten a permission slip from the other person to allow you to do it, and they've gotten it from you, and then you're good. People do it before they get the permission slip. And then they wonder, why are they being so weird? Why are they not vibing with what I'm giving? Because you didn't get a permission slip from them, man. You didn't connect with them. You didn't get that, like, yeah, this is okay, man.
Yeah.
I
didn't mean it. It was just a joke. Why are you taking it so seriously?
Why are you taking it so seriously?
It's not that deep, man.
It's levels of relationship. It's levels of relationship and trust. I've been on the show with these guys for a while and I've known them for much longer. And if either of them says something to me that I feel actually is hurtful, I feel completely confident that I can be like, dude, that sucked. Like, what? Ow. Like, and they'd be like, okay, I see. Here's what I was going. Like, that conversation is available. If I just met someone, and I love banter. I love shit talk. I'm a huge fan of it. But if we just start, I'm like, oh, so we're actually going to fight then. Like, it's a different thing entirely. And as I've mentioned before, actually, I didn't mention this. We get taught that physical dominance is your value, which is fucking insane because it was true in the caveman times. Very useful in the caveman times, people to subdue a beast with a club. At this point, I can subdue a beast with, money or a gun, which we can all use with relatively the same strength level. it's a stupid way of doing things, and it ties to might makes right. And if might makes right, then power is what's most important. And you do not want that system, I'm telling you right now, because very powerful people don't always have very kind hearts. Putting that aside, you want to build things on trust, and because of the rules I've mentioned today, it's really hard to get that trust without the vulnerability. So, moving to the second half of our show real quick. This is the part about bad relationships. Maybe you're a young person. Maybe you're not. Who knows? But it's your first big romance. You're in love with somebody and it feels really good. And I have such phenomenal news for you. First of all, watch the honeymoon episode because it really goes into depth on this. But you're about to drown in oxytocin and you're not going to care. It feels so fucking good. It's like, I'm so in love. This person's so amazing. I want to spend every second with this person. The sex is incredible. You spending money like it's going out of style. It's amazing. You commit resources, time. Maybe you propose, whatever else, right? Please don't surprise propose. Please don't do that. Sam made a really good point. Please don't do that. Anywho's, one of the problems is you can't really tell if your relationship is good for a while because your brain is flooded with the effects of heroin. You're high on love, effectively. And you're like, this is amazing. And then your partner might be like rude to you. You're like, oh, I didn't like that. Ah, God damn, this oxytocin though. Okay. What I will tell you is if you think a person is really like your person, you can kind of apply the same rule that a lot of people do for tattoos, which is like put it somewhere, think about it. If you still like it after a while, go for it. The time you need for selecting a permanent partner should be longer than a tattoo.
Yeah.
It should be. Tattoos are awesome, but you don't like have to live with a tattoo that's mean to you. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing. And if you do, weird tattoo. But
mine shout at me when I wake up. It's horrible.
You have the
Damn it,
cyberpunk
Daniel.
tattoos.
Yeah.
Play more Bloodborne.
Why did you get me tattooed near your armpit? It fucking stinks. This is the worst.
So, a couple of quick things I want to talk about are bad relationships. How can you tell if a relationship is bad? Number one, good relationships require work, which is the thing I need to say before the next thing, which is a bad relationship feels like a job. Like it feels like you're checking in and you're like, okay, I got to do my fucking shift. Because that's the beginning of resentment. Give me a second to search up a thing really quick, because I never say this right. Here we go. So in Therapy Town, there are the 4 horsemen of death for relationships. It's criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. This one is contempt. When you start to feel the other person sucks, and you're just like, oh my God, I fucking hate this person. When you talk about the person on the old ball and chain, there's like a cute way to do it and be like, oh, well, the old ball and chain's dinner's tonight. I don't advise this in general because I think doing things that put your partner down, even in jest, is just a real slippery fucking slope. Some couples can do this and they're amazing.
I will say I am team never put your partner down, even in jest.
I'm also that team.
My wife and I follow that rule. She hears all the time from her coworkers, other people, they all shit talk their husbands all the time. And she always feels incredibly uncomfortable by it. And we just don't do that. We just don't.
The same thing of like what I said before of about getting older and like keeping on verbalizing just like, oh, I'm really getting up there now. Oh, I'm so old.
Yeah.
If you say something enough times, you will start to believe it.
Yeah.
You will.
Absolutely.
Stop putting that negative talk out into the world. It might not feel like it's seeping into the realm of truth, but it will. But it will.
Please listen to Daniel on that. Please. Because you will start to weave a craft. Also, if you're like shitting on yourself, you're like, I'm so ugly, and in the hope that your partner will stop that. 2 things. 1, they'll start to think you are. So don't. And 2, they will realize their validation isn't working and that they're being prompted to correct you. And people hate that.
They do. Yep.
Especially if they have ADHD, by the way. So number 1 is contempt. Like you don't want to start resenting your partner. This is a massive over like reduction with this, but the way to avoid this is healthy communication and saying like, I feel an emotion about this thing that you're fucking doing. Don't even say fucking if you can help it, but then that person can respond. You can talk about it. There's a heads up, not to brag. I'm kind of okay. Like I'm pretty good at this. It's still incredibly fucking hard. Like it's very tough to do this in a vulnerable but assertive way. And we can talk about that another time if you want to talk about that. But criticism we kind of touched on earlier. If you're like ragging on your partner, once again, I'm kind of in the same club with Sam, as in I would just not even do it. But if you do, the degree that I would do it as is like, man, you're always stealing coins from me in Mario Party. Like it's never like you have a flaw as a person and I don't like it. It's like like I said, the EQ for this and the nuance for this is such that it's just kind of not worth fucking with. I do know some couples who can do it, and I love them, and they're amazing. I'm not. I've tried. I can't. It's not good.
My wife is actually pretty good. I've seen her do it a couple times. We'll be at like a group party or whatever, and it'll be like, Sam always fucking wins Mario Kart. Fuck that guy, and we all laugh. And that's it. Like, there's no stakes to it. It's just a fun, stupid thing,
Right?
You know, that kind of thing.
Right. No, and I evaluated a couple things.
I'm bad at it, so I never even touch that. But she's much better at it than I am.
It's like a little bit different rules too than with like buddies. So like one of my friends, who's a friend of my partner, she and I have a dynamic that we're like fake enemies, that we're always like doing pranks on each other and crap.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's like lighthearted and fun. It does still always end with a like hug and like I care about you kind of a thing, or like I guess I still like it. You know, like there's just something like that. This is different with partners. It just psychologically happens differently because you spend way more time with them. So I'm going to really quick touch on stonewalling and defensiveness. Defensiveness is a really hard one, in that if you are my partner, dear listener, and you come to me and you say, man, you're always late for everything. I'm like, well, I can't help it. You're always fucking coming up. I've already fucked this. And I understand why I did, because I feel nervous. I feel attacked. I feel criticized. And it's really easy to slip into this, especially if somebody teed you up.
Yeah.
If my past partner was complaining about how late I was all the time and you bring it up, I'm already at a fucking 9. And it's okay. There's more about that, but I want to go past it because I still have like a big thing I want to get to today. Stonewalling, I'm going to be the briefest on, but it's just locking it out. And I bring this one up specifically because it's important for men. Men do this really bad. We get taught, as per our earlier conversation about stoicism and like brevity, we're just like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Want to know a terrible feeling? Knowing somebody's upset and they won't acknowledge it. Oh boy. And it's terrible for everyone because now the person's like, no, but I know you're mad. They're like, I'm not. I'm fine. You know how this fight goes. And if you don't, love that for you. It's not great.
I don't love that for you. You're going to find out. It's not fun.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Rattling off a few more things. Here's why bad relationships are tricky to get out of. Once you've noticed these things, you first off go, especially if you're a dude, this is the only place I can be vulnerable. I cannot lose this. And you will stay in things that do not serve you. As a person who's been a therapist before, who's helped people leave relationships, and also just like a dude who's helped friends leave relationships, there's occasionally a real fear of like, this person will hurt me. Weird shout out. Sometimes you'll be with a partner who had a previous partner that was physically scary. And now you're in the orbit of their reaction of like, oh God, no, you're physically scary. And that feels really bad. And it makes you feel defensive. And this whole thing goes up in flames in like 5 seconds. Once again, vulnerability is how you diffuse this. And we can talk more about the communication there if you wish. But second one, past overemphasis of the relationship is it's the devil you know. Well, this person and me fight all the fucking time, but probably better than going back on the dating apps again.
Yeah.
That's a statistical fallacy. This is also a thing, too. ADHD havers prefer to do the thing that we already know than look for another thing. I've had so many fucking clients with ADHD who have a job they don't like, and they stay at it because they think they might find one that sucks more. Because their brain pre-populates this, and there's a sustained task of applying to jobs, which is worse than ever. Like, it just feels so bad. The sunk cost fallacy, I've put so much into this relationship, I can't pull out now. You can. Let me tell you, as an owner of a Kia Soul formerly, sell it. Sell it earlier. Please don't do what I'm doing. It's a very bad plan.
Burn it. Crush it.
Just like throw it away. Do whatever. Anyway, like putting resources in something that doesn't work anymore, oftentimes, no shot at anybody, right? But like at some point you can make a fair judgment call and be like, oh, this isn't getting better per resources. I'm just burning them. I will withdraw. That's way easier to do with a fucking car than it is with a pet, than it is with a person. Like that goes way up in intensity per rung of that ladder.
Can I pause you, John, without you losing thought? Can I pause you for a moment?
I have notes, baby. Go ahead.
Okay. Because you brought it up. Again, I won't name names, but there's a famous YouTuber that has an entire career of making fun of people's finances.
Sam Kirk.
Yeah, of course. And I literally just came up on my timeline yesterday. I watched it and I thought of you. The person apparently was like enormously in debt. And says, you know, what check in at 3 months later, how have things changed? Well, I decided I didn't need that one car that I really liked that was really fancy. I went ahead and bought a Kia Soul. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Why did you think that was? But the financial advisor who's a guru on YouTube, that's the thing about YouTube. You get to be your own king of your own castle. Goes, oh yeah, very good, smart decision. Much cheaper car. I'm like, no, it will literally cost you more in the long run. Dear God.
It is wise to buy a cheaper car. Please learn from me. There are cars that are not worth buying. The 2014 to 2015 model of the Kia Soul is so stealable. Most insurance companies will not insure it. Specifically, avoid that car. No shot at Kia. They make some fine cars. That model, all of the shots. Do not do it. I know. Ask me how. So,
there you go.
Okay. Last point of the why it's hard to get out of a bad relationship. This is, I think, the most interesting one. It's because you have a small sample size and you don't know what a bad relationship is. And if you are in a different relationship every year for 40 years, your sample size is still too small.
There are 8 billion people on this planet. There are 8 billion people on this planet. Your sample size is always going to be too small.
Inevitably too small. It just is. I am not like super proud of this, but like I'm a serial monogamist, not because I was making the choice to be, but because I was a sad boy. And I was like, I don't feel good about myself. I need another relationship. Spoiler alert, I got better by being single. Womp womp. But I've had more dating relationships than most people you know. I just have. I don't know how many, but I've been doing it since I was 17 and I'm 38. There's an exception. Once again, I got healthier. But even with that, like you still are on a case-by-case basis. This can never be a true study. It's always going to be a case study. If you're a psych nerd, you maybe appreciated that. I don't know. I did. But there's this thing where like you never have enough data to be able to like, oh, I've seen this pattern before, I'll throw you out. And also, your brain is a little silly old brain, and it will occasionally see patterns in people who aren't doing it. If you had a person cheat on you, which if you have, I'm sorry, I have, it sucks. And then you're like, well, what preceded that person cheating on me? They were always going out every night. Huh. And then you have a new partner, and that person goes out every night, and you're like, well, that seems awfully familiar. But that person's going to their fucking bridge club where they have their good friendships and they feel great and it's an important part of their self-care. And you're like, I'm seeing problems. Like, once again, the cure for this, and it is this simple. It's fucking communication and vulnerability. And it's not saying, prove to me you won't cheat, because that's literally just contempt and defensiveness and criticism. It's saying, I had a really tough thing happen once and I feel scared. I just want to let you know I'm trying to be vulnerable about this. But what I'm telling you is, if this happens to you and you try to communicate vulnerably, you are still on the fastest, healthiest path off the ride. I promise you it's the best outcome. And I'm sorry that it happens. It's not your fault.
Also, John is fully aware that when the person is making the choice to cheat, it has very little to do with the other person. So if you are the person going with that, just so you know, it's not your fault.
Totally. It's not about you. It's about them. Every single time. Every single time.
It's really easy to internalize that.
There is a thing where people who are in really bad, unhappy relationships eventually cheat from a place of math, because they're like, I need to, my needs to get filled, and they kind of slip and fall into it. And that's not me saying so it's fine, but that's me saying so like leave bad relationships, which is kind of the point of what we're saying. Okay, so some things to talk about making a relationship feel good and how you can stay in one. It's actually very simple. I'm going to pull this thing up. We're not going to go through all of it because I personally feel like that would be, I don't know, not a great use of our time. Hello, can you see my fair fighting rules?
I see it.
It's great.
For my listeners who can't see the screen, there's a list here of, I believe it's 8 or is it 10 at the bottom?
All the way to 9.
9. Oh, 9. And look, it's got an LLC at the bottom, which means it's a limited liability company, which means we can trust it. I think we can trust it.
Guaranteed. For the record, I use this handout often, or other ones, as just like kind of a guide for people. I personally agree with it. Listeners, fear not. I'm going to go through the things. We're not going to go super in depth with them. If you want this, type in fair fighting rules and you will find a PDF to your liking. There's 1,000 of them. But these are some things to do. And I'll tell you, I don't do couples work anymore because frankly, it's too hard. I've done a lot of therapy. Couples work is incredibly challenging.
It is.
When you finish a therapy session with me, you'll go home and you'll feel great. When you finish a couples therapy session, you might be angry at me and your partner and yourself and God and everything. It is hard work. It works though. So do have it does work. Anyway, so I'm gonna go through these things really quick. Number 1 is super important, especially for dudes. Ask yourself why you feel upset. Because what's going to happen, as we've covered before, anger is a secondary emotion. It's literally never the primary emotion. You actually feel sad or you actually feel afraid. If you can get to that, it's going to help. One example of this is like, the one they say is like, you're doing an uneven share of the housework. You're doing more housework. Sure, at first piece, you're mad, but if you follow that further, it's like, well, I thought we had talked about this and I feel let down. Or it's like, I don't have time for this all the time. That's fear and sadness, respectively. Two is the hardest one for me. It's discuss one topic at a time. If we're mad about the dishes not being done and you're like, yeah, but when your fucking sister was here, da da da, immediately like, I can't defend both angles at once. I can't talk about both angles at once. And as a person with ADHD, my brain wants to do this so very much. It wants to bring up 55 things and talk about all of them at one time. While your brain may be fast enough to do that, it is kind to yourself and your partner to not. Number three, maybe the most important one, focus on the problem, not the person. There's a lot of built-in shit with this, like don't do name calling. Also, if you did name calling, the conversation's over. I'm sorry to be so blunt about that, but like you have violated the rules of this so hard that you cannot come back from it. I don't even care if it was like, look, you dummy. It's like, nope, you made a personal attack. You can't do this now. You got to back out.
No name calling, and this isn't on your list, John, but I think you might agree. Try not to ask the other person why questions. Like, why
In general,
do you do
yes.
this, right? You can reframe it as a what question, but don't put the person on the defensive. Yeah.
Why? Brilliant point. Why is a very backloaded question in that you're immediately like defend yourself. Another one that's not on here that's really helpful is use we language. So when you're doing the one problem, focus on the problem of the person, you can say, we seem to have kind of a breakdown when this topic comes up. Is there something that we're doing that's bringing this out? It's so much different more than like every time this fucking comes up, you do this. That second one is it's a gun. Like it's so much scarier. The fourth one, people hate this. I say it with love. I know a lot of people I've done a lot of work with who just hate this. It feels robotic. We'll make it feel not that way. But using the I statements, I feel emotion when blank. It sounds real foreign and therapist until you get used to it. But if I say, well, I feel sad when you say that, it's that easy. It's not that hard. We can talk more about that once again later. People do like to talk about this, so we can get into it later. Number 5 is also an ADHD one. Take turns speaking. You'll notice that the people on this show enjoy talking and we cut each other off all the time, but we also look at each other and go, and we kind of like pass it off because it's a sign of respect. If you talk over the other person, you're not respecting them. And I bring that up not in a way like you have to respect them. What I'm telling you is mechanically this fight is pointless because you're not working towards a resolution. You're trying to dominate them. If you win a fight by dominating them, the person will resent you. I fucking guarantee you that. No one likes to be dominated, parentheses, and fetish exception, blah, 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 blah. But in the context of healing a thing, no one wants you to be like the powerful one who forces things. And if they do, they're not going to, not for long. Stonewalling we covered. Moving on to yelling. Yelling is so obvious, but also I want to make a special mention to it. Like, I don't always know that I'm yelling because I am an animated person. But if I am, and you are feeling bad about that, please let me know. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just true in general. If someone's yelling and you say, stop fucking yelling, that's also not great. But you can say, hey, I noticed that we're a little loud right now. Saying I noticed in general, kind of a banger for this. Number 8, I'm going to skip 9. 9 is very obvious, be willing to compromise. But number 8 is really important to me. So 8, ADHD, you can't be this fast. Don't tell me. I'm going to think of it. Timeout, got it. So timeouts is an incredibly high EQ thing, and I really want to talk about it because it sounds really easy and it's super not. The correct way to take a timeout, if you feel too elevated to have the fight right then, which is completely, totally fair and valid, is you say, hey, I'm too activated. I can't do this right now. I know this is important, and I know we need to talk about insert topic here. Let's make a plan to follow up on this at this time. How does that time work for you? And then you find a time. And if you don't follow up on this, you are fucking yourself. Because the person the next time will hear, hey, can we take this and throw it away and disregard your feelings? And this is hard, once again, for the ADHD homies. In my phone, I will put, remember to catch up with so-and-so about this thing. Because, like, you just got to do it. It's such, and it feels really good, by the way, when a person's like, remember that thing we were talking about? I wanted to follow up with you and make sure you feel okay about that. That is a hugely healing gesture. People feel very thought of and seen when you do that. But I believe Sam had one for the other number I did not do.
It says compromise. I want to talk about this because, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I hate that we're in this state. I use the word compromise, and it has now become a politically heated phrase. You say
True.
compromise, and people go, I shouldn't have to compromise anything. It's the other side, whatever. So the principle is 100% correct. I would offer a reframe. Don't think of it like compromise. Think of it as going towards a win-win situation. Both parties win something out of it. Is it true you're going to lose something at the expense? Yes, but you're still going to get a win and they're going to get a win out of it. And that is super critical. You cannot forego this path, this conversation, thinking you're going to win everything. Not going to happen. And you can't go down this path, this conversation in any kind of productive manner, thinking that they're going to take everything away from you. No. Win-win. Always go towards what's a win-win situation for us. What would a success look for both of us? That's my piece on that.
It's really well put. I think like a little pocket tip that I've given a lot of people and that I very much use myself is if you're having a fight, you want to think about how we both win. Like if you can phrase a language of like, I want us both to feel better about this, what's going on, like it will change the tone immediately. And if it doesn't, that's actually really good information because it means your partner's too activated to have this conversation right now. One last thing on bad relationship, no relationship. And we kind of touched on this earlier. I need to talk about it a little tiny bit more, which is a lot of people don't want to leave their bad relationship because they're like, I can't get another one. I guarantee you this. I don't. And I feel such a passion around this because I know so many people who've had challenging things. They've had anxiety. They've had whatever. They're having their first major relationship. And then they're like, I've never had this before. It's so incredibly special. I'm not here to knock how special it is. I'm here to tell you there's a lot of special things in the world and you are probably fucking one of them. And I feel like you can find another one. And if you can't, that comes with a giant, big, bold letters right now underneath it. But I promise you right now isn't forever. I also understand the concept of emotional reasoning. And I've been in this position and I've been like, it fucking feels like forever. And if you have ADHD or depression, that's a really scary thought. But also, I promise you it's a thought. It's just a thought.
Thoughts aren't real.
They're just data. They're effectively AI generated garbage. I to that end would kind of tie, our ends together with our show here today.
Ooh, the seg,
which
the
is
sexy seg.
This is a good seg. This is the full Ouroboros. This also gets easier as you get older. Some people are like, man, I'm still dating in my 40s, my 50s. What do I do? Great news for you. There are some significant upsides to this. One thing is like, you know yourself better, and all of the fucking like gamery of this is so much, it's just non-existent. Like you can just skip a lot of steps by just being yourself. And then also you begin to have this data set. When I had my first breakup, I was like, what, 17, 16? I don't know. I was fucking heartbroken. But then I had a breakup, I don't know, like in my late 20s. And I was like, well, that sucks. And I cried and I was sad and I did some shit for a few months, knowing full well I would find another person. If you don't know that, that's such a scarier problem. If you lose a job and you're like, I'll never have a job again, that's much scarier than like, okay, I'll go somewhere else. And remember, he said with great warmth and truth, humans are amazing. We come back from everything. We're the most resilient creature on the planet, except for squids. Don't compete with them at this. They're way too good at it. But like, you got to let yourself heal. You got to work on yourself. That's the worst case scenario. That's the worst case scenario. And I'll tell you one more bonus thing, which is if you take the time to like help yourself be okay and ready for the next relationship, the payoff is insanely good. It's so good. As opposed to getting into a relationship still covered in wounds from your last one and being like, why is this so hard? It's so hard because you're not ready yet, man. Or lady. Or non-binary homie. And it's okay that it's hard and it's okay that it's scary. And this is back to and this is like tying the men thing to it too, right? Like if you go through a breakup, you don't need to go get sex. Let me tell you, doesn't fucking work. Clearly aware of that. Have tried. Because what you're not getting is like love. What you're not getting is like safety. What you're not getting is vulnerability. What you're not getting is proof that someone cares about you. Sex gives you little really fun doses of that and it feels great. But it also, it doesn't like help your shit heal. Remember, feelings, emotions are a thing that biomechanically heals. When they get expressed, they go away. That's how it works. Don't shortchange that. If you're playing football, you break your arm and you go back in on the next play, you are doing a massive disservice to yourself and your team. It is sad. It's sad you got to go heal. But it's worth it. You'll play better afterward. That's all the things I have to say. I'll say no more things now. Perhaps my friends will. Let's find out.
Out of respect for Daniel's schedule, I want to keep this part short, but you said something that I think is really important I want to touch on. How men speak about other women to other men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put my heart on my sleeve on this. This stuff gets me mad. When someone talks to me about their wife, spouse, or even just another person in their life who's a woman, and there's a tinge of like they are lesser than men. There's a tinge of, you know how women are. There's a tinge of, oh, this person's being like, it's just there. Like, and they are a good person. They're good. You know, they're an ally, capital, whatever. But they have that tinge to it, and it drives me up a goddamn wall. Because A, they don't know it, but B, that is also doing significant harm, and it's down that pathway of incel-ship and all the other stuff. I would say to anyone that has experienced that, if you're capable of even noticing it, that's huge, awesome. A lot of men don't even notice that crap. I'm curious, John, what would you say for men to kind of manage that piece, because it's everywhere and it's tough.
So this will hit home differently for some people, but a real great move in this is for me is like, as you go to say that thing, your mom is watching, your sister is watching. They're there in the room with you. Do you want them to see you say this? If you're like, yeah, no, it's true. They occasionally do bite you during horror movies and it's hilarious. Like, great, let her rip. But if it's like, no, they would be really hurt by that. And if you have like a fucked up relationship with your mom or your sister, don't do them. Also, this is like a thing. A lot of men do not have a positive relationship with a woman that they have not banged. They haven't just like they've had like a sexual, which also isn't necessarily a positive relationship to begin with, and it becomes very objectifying. The objectifying thing isn't me taking a moral high ground, even though I could. It's because it doesn't fucking work. If you want to have a sustainable thing, you can't have it with an object. Me and my desk don't have a good relationship because he's a fucking desk. Also, he's rude. That's a me problem, though.
I just think if you are listening to this, you probably are more sensitive than the average bear, so you'd be able to hear that a bit more. And I say there's a lot of power that can be had in challenging, devaluing behavior, saying, "Hey, I'm not comfortable with that guy," or checking out this conversation. That's not. I don't care if that's someone we both mutually agree has issues. I don't have that subtext, that color, that flavor. And I would encourage men, if you notice this, it's not your job to necessarily inform the other guy that's what's happening. You do you. But if you have the spoons to spare and the person's willing and receptive, maybe you can have that educational moment like John did with that one individual before about, hey, was that really that creepy? I had no idea. I'm like, yeah. Let me inform you how that might have come across that other individual, right? This is huge because there's a lot of men out there who think they're allies, and maybe they are, but the language is still not quite right, especially when they speak about women to other men. Like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hold on.
I'm smiling because I have a secret move that I will share with you now, dear viewer/listener. It doesn't always work, but it's kind of compassionate, and I think it's very funny. Which is if you like are around a person and they let one of those go, and they're like, "Yeah, women are always fucking doing this." You go, "I'm sorry, what was that?" And then they have a chance to go, "Oh, I don't want to say that again."
Yeah,
they have to repeat it. Make them repeat it.
Yeah. Some people are like, "I said motherfucking blah, blah, blah," and you're like, "No, okay, maybe not you." But like a lot of people, this is a way you can like gently draw attention to it. And let me give you a bonus tip. This is for the incredibly high EQ people. This is also very hard. It doesn't sound like it is, but it is. You can't be smug about it. If you're smug about it, they're going to view you as an enemy and invalidate your point.
You have to be curious.
They're going to call you some fucking insult and file you as illegitimate.
You have to be genuinely curious. Like, I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that?
And kindness heals. So if you treat them like a person, they'll take it better.
Wait, treating people like people? That's not our show. Our show's about robots and AI. What the fuck, man?
Well, I mean, I don't even exist.
Yeah.
I'm a prompt. So
You're a prompt.
I assume you knew that.
We generated you in 3 seconds. Thanks to
my fingers.
Gemini.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
This topic is really important to me.
Thanks.
And I hope you can tell. There's 2 big outcomes I want before I am rude. I already was rude to Daniel. Sorry, Daniel.
How fucking dare you?
True. The big outcomes that I want is as follows. One, I want men to have access to the full spectrum of emotions and get to share shit with each other because like shit's fucking cool. I recommend it. I talk to these dudes every single week. It's a fucking treat. You deserve that. You deserve that if you're a man. We've been told that it's weak and bad and other dumb shit. Don't let rules written by a person that wasn't you. That's not how we're doing this. Thing number two is I want to help people feel like you can always find a relationship, and if you can't, it's a gentle, loving call to action to tend to your own shit. Nobody is so bad they can't find somebody. Nobody is so bad they have to be alone. You just have to take care of yourself first. And also, this could be its own fucking show, but like, nobody is so good that everybody has to want to be with you. If I'm in the best shape and I'm the hottest person and I make the most money and I'm amazing at sex and I have the coolest, cutest dog and I have an interest in the same interest as you and you just don't like me, that's okay. And it would be foolish of me to be like, I'm going to be even more the things you like to get. No, it's not about that. It's not about that.
Well, folks, that has been our show, the Zero Dot Podcast. Once again, it's been another week, but it's been a week with you, and we appreciate it. My name's Sam. This has been John. This is Daniel. You can find us on the zerodotpodcast.com. You can find us wherever podcasts are aired. If you got a question for us, we'd love to hear what your question is, and we'd air it on here on the show and talk about it a little bit, pontificate about it, if you will. Just go ahead and check us out at the zerodotpodcast.com, submit your question there, or you can be part of our really cool super secret Club Zero Dot Patreon members, and you have extra access, priority access to our questions and us and just being cool. And we really like it. And it's only $3.99. If you want to give more, you can. If not, no worries. Until next time, cheers.